Neighbors, groovers, good day, good afternoon, good evening. Mr. Al Pete with the mighty MPN Network. We have another episode of The Neighbor's Way coming right now. This is kind of like a double header, but we're going to do the individual actions. The individual brothers can stand on their own, but they came together to bring us a documentary, and the documentary is on my man Krate Digga. He's the person that we're going to be having the first interview with, and then the second one will be with Dominic Lawson, the one that actually directed and filmed it and produced it and all the things. But right now, we're going to be talking to my man, Krate Digga. He is an absolutely dope musician, human being. We can run down the list as far as DJ, producer, lecturer, orator, all of the things. But he is the main character in this documentary that we're about to discuss, okay? So sit tight, get your drinks, all that good stuff, whatever you have it. We in the neighbor's way. We in the neighbor's house, all right? Let's get to it. Good day, good afternoon, good evening, my people. Mr. Al Pete with the mighty MPN Network. We are here for another episode of The Neighbor's Way, a double header, actually. So, we are BYKE for Duval. You know what time it is, back for the world. Hopefully everybody is good and great. We are about to get into this first interview, the first of two interviews of this series, the Krate Doc. So we're going to be interviewing and talking with my good brother, great brother, great human being, Krate Digga. He is the focus of the documentary. And then the next series that you'll see, the next episode of the series, we'll be talking with the director, another great brother and human of mine that I know. But first off, Krate Digga, and like I was explaining before, I'm not finna get into all these titles and stuff like that because I don't want to insult this guy at all. I just know overall he's just a very, very great person. Now, we can go down the list, and we will probably go down that list when we talk to him. But without further ado, we're going to bring him in. And I never did sound effects on this show. I don't think I did, but raise the roof.
What's going on, brother? How are you?
Man, I'm all right, man. I'm all right. Moving along, pushing along. How you feeling, brother?
I can't complain, man. You know, it's August here in Columbus, Ohio. So, of course, you're going to hear the birds and the bees. You might hear some pears dropping out the tree. My neighbor was working on his yard. Ice cream truck may come through the alley playing La Cucaracha. You never know what'll hop off. But it's a beautiful day out, and I'll take it. Because when it gets cold here in the Midwest and nasty, it's unforgiving. So when you got the nice days, you got to light some citronella incense and enjoy the outside while you can.
Indeed. Everything starts shifting for you up there after Labor Day, correct?
When we lucky, every now and then it'll get kind of dicey, but usually we can make it through Labor Day, mid to late September with decent weather. And then, October is when it make, hit or miss. But this has been a relatively good summer. In terms of like not being too hot, but also like last summer was not what it usually is. So I felt like I got cheated out of last summer. So I've been really waiting for days and nights like this. But but honestly, man, in the Midwest, you never know. It could be spring in the morning, summer during the day, fall in the evening, and be winter at night, and then back around to it. So you never really know what season you're gonna get at what part of the day. But so you just gotta, if you don't mind, ignore the smoke coming from the incense to keep the bugs away because they're unforgiving as well.
Oh man, well, bugs. That sounds very
well. The mosquitoes, at least the mosquitoes.
Okay,
we don't
I'm
have.
about to say that sounds unfamiliar because we were up there shooting the documentary that we're about to discuss. But when we up there, we didn't have to swat anything away from us. So
actually, that was like as close to a perfect weekend, especially like mid-June when we shot that.
Yeah. So
either we were blessed or y'all brought good vibes. I don't know, but that was a perfect summer weekend.
Fair enough. Cool. Well, listen, I appreciate you, brother. First off, as always, I appreciate you overall, inside, outside this interview, man. I just definitely had this like massive respect for you. I've learned a lot. The brotherhood that we've grown in this process has been been very enriching and honorable. So I want to say thank you for that part. But then at the same time, too, we're here to talk about the documentary that you are the feature of, the showcase. Now, the name of the documentary is the Krate Doc. This is a Dominic Lawson cut, and we have the powerhouses of like Dripping in Black, Owls Inc., MPN, pushing it or whatnot. So this is not your first rodeo. This is not your first rodeo of the doc. What number does this make this?
I guess technically this would be the second documentary that I've been featured in. But I've also done like mini docs of myself. So like I got 2 different episodes of my quote unquote origin story. I've been working on the third for years, and by working on that means like telling myself I need to do it, and I got the stuff to do it, but I just haven't been really pushed to sit down and do it because there's just certain aspects and certain like pictures and stuff that I can't find that I really want to be part of it, and I feel like if I don't get the stuff I really need, I'll never feel right about doing it. So I've been putting it off. But I say all that to say the first one was shot in 2016, released in 2017. By my brother Charles Ewing, and that's up on the website and all that. We can talk about that later. This will be the second documentary that I've been part of that was shot by other folks who did, both the shooting, the editing, the interviewing, and all that stuff.
Indeed. Was there the feeling? Was there like a feeling that you can kind of explain to us while the weekend was going on? To my people that's watching this, I'm trying not to be biased because it for me it felt it was just brotherhood and so I guess the brotherhood was a mixture of the work and the entertainment, the plan or whatever. But specifically with you, like what was the feeling that you had? And outside of, what's the feeling? What was the feeling that you had?
Yeah, a lot. So I'll start with having met up with you guys in various locations for various occasions. This is the first time you guys were coming to Columbus, my home. And first and foremost, I wanted y'all's experience here in the city, regardless of the things we were here to do. I wanted y'all's experience here in the city to be a great one. So like being the host, there's a different type of, I don't want to call it pressure, but responsibility. That I put on myself in terms of what I tried to make sure was available for y'all, information, access, all those things. So like part of my brain was like, have I thought about this? Have I thought about that? Did I double check this? So those things of being a great host. And then once again, also knowing that there was a bevy of different events and kind of things that we had on the plate that I had to be sure kind of worked well. So whether it was the first event that I did on Friday, moving into all the things that we did Saturday, leading into the stuff we did Sunday, like I had to be wary of all the logistics of that, both for myself and the performing professional artist that was attending and working these events, and also knowing that I was going to have my brothers in tow, whether they were just hanging out, whether they were actual production crew shooting, and having to work on getting access to different events that were either private events or all that. So once again, all of those different things were part of my mindset going into it. And that's all basically before we even talk about what my brain was trying to process as the creative, as the performing artist, as the person who had to then be ready to perform and do these things in terms of the venues and the events and all those things that I was tasked with. So it was a lot. It was not easy, but it wasn't like hard work. It was just kind of like, it's just making sure your people is good. And you want to make sure that you haven't overlooked something or something didn't slip through the cracks. You want to, be sure that your communication with folks were aware that like, all right, I'm going to have 3 or 4 people with me. They're going to have cameras. They're going to have mics. So I want to be sure that this is okay, not just in terms of what I need to do for myself, but it's not something that's going to negatively affect the ambiance or the environment or the experience that the venue is looking to have in terms of why they even brought me there in the first place. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of thoughts, a lot of going on in my mind about it, but it all felt, I don't want to say all felt good because I feel like that's a real poor use of words. It felt guided. It felt intentional. Kind of like when you doing hard work, but you know it's gonna pay off. It's kind of like that, whatever that feeling is. That's what it felt like. So I just knew I was doing the right thing. I knew it wasn't gonna be easy, but I knew that it was gonna be all right.
I got you. So with that being said, you mentioned and good. I understood when you said good, and I understood as well that you said, poor choice of words or whatever. But when you mentioned like intentional or whatever, what did you learn about yourself in this process? Did you learn anything? Did anything come like a revelation come out of this? Because everything that you just mentioned, I'm sitting here thinking like, damn, yeah, he had to do all of that. Like he had to, get. And I wasn't thinking about at the time, but I'm thinking about you had to talk to everybody to be like, let me get these passes, let me get these cameras, so if you won't feel intimidated and all that stuff. But with that being said, like, did you learn anything about yourself in this process of being documented?
Even though I always joke about hanging up my cape, I was reminded that I'm Superman. No, I'm joking. So yes. There's always those times, I think, to be absolutely honest, there's always those times that the most confident and proficient artist, creative, whatever, will have, I won't say doubts, but will not be absolutely sure that what they're doing is going to work out, or what they're doing has had like all of the I's are dotted, T's crossed, and like just knowing that everything is going to be absolutely cool. You never know, even if you're in the most confident space, because there's just so many things that can happen that are so out of your control. But what I did learn once again is that like in a very kind of macro level, like you can really do anything for the most part. It may not be easy. It may take work. It may take you to lay out a plan, learn about how your plan might not work, and pivot from that. But I was just reminded about, once again, that even though I don't always move the way other people move, there's some things that I'm just okay with not being a part of. There's certain things I won't chase, et cetera, et cetera. But in the end, like how I am and who I am is more than enough and more than capable to do pretty much anything that comes to mind. It's just about working the process, trusting myself, doing the work, being open to critique and evaluation, and helping, having people look at what you've laid out and talking things through to say, hey, I think that's a great idea, but have you thought about doing this part that way? Or, yeah, if that is something that may not be approved by the venue, what is your plan B? So like all of those things, but in the end, it was just a reminder and absolutely a reminder, but I guess also you get a feeling of, enjoyment, gratitude, joy, confidence, it just made me feel good to know I could do it. All the work involved. I could have both that logistics, technical kind of planning brain going, and not lose the creative aspect of my brain that doesn't like to do both those things at the same time often. That if I had to do those things, I could. One thing about me is no matter how technically savvy I am, both, pre and during any creative performance, I don't really like to be a tech and an artist in the same space. I like to either show up as a tech, show up as an artist, or if I have to do both, not having to do all of those things at the same time, which requires, once again, a lot of teamwork, a lot of preparation, a lot of patience, a lot of study, a lot of research, a lot of failures over the years. So I say all those things to say it's a great feeling. It's a feeling of kind of gratitude and like reminding yourself that things can be difficult, but that doesn't make it impossible. Also, things don't have to be perfect for them to be good, for them to have turned out well. One thing I say is, even when I don't agree and or understand the timing, everything happens when it's supposed to and how it's supposed to. And there's times where I don't always kind of know why or agree with or just all those things. But in the end, I feel comfortable knowing that everything that has happened and that happens is the way it's supposed to be. And the pivots and the redirections will be what they need to be, because once again, I don't think that I've been put on this earth to fail. Um, so I just got to show up and do my part, and I believe the rest kind of will happen the way it's supposed to happen.
Yeah, I do agree. Look at there. Sorry, y'all to interrupt, but Square is popping in.
I didn't know if that was your draft. I was saying you got a DraftKings alert, like you hit your trifecta. Or
did that sound even come through? I don't even know if it came through or not.
Yeah, I heard it.
Oh yeah, shouts out to Square calling in the middle of the interview. So we're gonna do a round of applause for him dripping in black, him being.
I think he just couldn't hold off. Whatever I just said meant so much to him that he had to.
And it's crazy how that happened. How he appeared right when you finished your statement. Like, oh, here we go.
only squared. You got only squared.
All right. So, with that being said, all the things that you just stated. So I think about the fact that and I'm like that as well. I feel like a little over the years, I've been feeling like I don't want to come to these spaces and be the tech person or the admin person, then switch to do the creative person. Granted, we do it in a natural way. And when I saw you that weekend, you was doing it very naturally. But do you think, what's one misconception that people have regarding the whole admin creative situation? Because people be thinking DJs are, they think we out here having like the grandest time. And that's a whole other situation, because we literally out here saving the world. Like when we DJing, we're literally saving the world, and they're not thinking about the 2 or 3 hours or the 2 to 3 weeks where we've done the research, where we've done the practicing and the experimentations and stuff like that. So what you would think is one kind of a misconception or a thing that people miss when it comes to the work that you intentionally do?
I don't know if there's any one specific misconception. I just don't think people truly understand the level of work that goes into it. Right. So I'll say this, and hopefully I say it, I mean it, but I also don't want to be misconstrued. So I'll be careful about how I try to articulate it. I don't believe all creatives are created the same. And in that, I don't mean that one is better than the other or certain people are better. I don't mean it in that way, but I mean that everyone doesn't approach it the same way. So you have those folks who approach it in certain ways to where their process requires a certain level of intentionality, a certain level of, I don't want to say perfection, because that's not it, but just trying to avoid mistakes there's nothing wrong with pivoting. But I also believe that there's some people whose mindset says, let's avoid the mistakes, as opposed to being ready to repair or fix mistakes. Once again, I don't think, I'm not saying to say one is right or wrong or anything, but I'm very much a over planner, a super preparer. And then, that along with approaching 30 years of being a DJ, but still having at least 10 years, if not more, of being a musician on top of that, there's just certain things that you kind of learn, you've done well at, you've failed at. So that preparation kind of looks different. So while I may not have to physically practice on turntables the same amount of hours that I used to, what I'm doing in terms of music history research or sample research or kind of recreating or redeveloping my curation of sets based on how the culture of a club or lounge is now versus how it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. How all these things are changing, or how does this set translate in this venue in a way that it would translate differently in a different venue. So all of those things come to mind. So back to your question. I don't know if there's one misconception, but I think that a lot of people don't fully understand the level of work that goes into what DJs like myself do. And it's definitely not just about lining up songs or like the scratch part of it. There's so much more specifically mental or kind of, I don't want to say it's intelligentsia, but it's just mental engagement that goes into it, which in part for me is why, to bring this up, which is really off target but on target. Like, it's part of why requests are frowned upon, because not because of the request itself specifically, but because so many people don't understand what we're doing while we're doing it. It's kind of like if you're trying to write something or type something or have a conversation and somebody just walks up and starts talking to you.
Right.
How disruptive that is to your thought process.
Right.
Or if you're trying to remember the name of a song and somebody just starts, walks up to you and wants to stick a phone in your face or starts talking to you, or, once again, there's a lot of work that goes into. My lights just came on. I don't know if you can see it, but lets me know what time it is.
Bleed.
Anyway, so things like that are just one example of how it may look like the DJ's just chilling or just vibing or having a good time or whatever. Maybe right, maybe wrong, but also there's so many things that you may not understand the DJ is doing by looking at them and not understanding, once again, the DJ's process. And once again, all DJs aren't the same. So some folks, they don't care. Some people welcome it. Blah blah blah, yada yada. I'm not here to judge, say one's right or wrong. But once again, I think a lot of people don't fully understand all the things that goes into what I do. So when they see a performance or see clips or see me live or whatever, their context of what I'm doing or their understanding of it may be a little askew from all the actualities, because once again, they don't know all of the parts. The same way as if I were to look at someone else's art, if I'm not hip to it, I can only tell you what I see and what I kind of pick up on as a fellow artist, but I really may not know all of the intricacies that go into it. Just setting up this shoot for this interview, I'm decent with a camera because I do a lot of streaming. But as the light was changing, I was like, all right, I got to figure this out. This looks too white. This looks too dark. I'm changing ISOs. I'm changing my f-stops. I moved the awning so I had more sunlight, and the sun is still moving, so I got to bring out a light. So once again, even in what I would consider relatively minimal understanding I have of video, like, I'm still going through all these things. So I can only imagine what folks who have a full, at least a fuller understanding of what it is to shoot, whether it be documentaries, whether it be movies, music videos, even high quality, social media content. Like, there's so much more that goes into it than just pick up your camera, turn it on and go. Like, it can be that simple, but when you get to a certain level, it just isn't that simple.
Right. You made a great point about the specifically with the request situation, like the mental aspect of it. The mental, it'll bog you down, man. That mental will bog. That's a thing that I feel like DJs. Well, people think that DJs are just having like this grand time, and granted, we're enjoying because we're actually moving the crowd and people are happy and dancing. But like that mental part. And you hit it on the nail on that, regarding like people walking up and just talking to you and kind of throwing off your thoughts, and you got like 300 people in front of you.
Or when it's all good, it's all good, but when it ain't, it ain't. So sometimes like you'll have them going, and one song you may lose them, or you just, timing is what it is. So it's like when it's great, but there's times where it is work, and the stress of, just imagine being in front of a room full of people, and your job is to pick music that they'll like for them to dance to or rock to or whatever. And at any time, your choices may not hit. So like, what do you do? What next choice? Like, so there, once again, I don't want to get into a heavy, like, this is the world of DJing talk, but like there's a level of stress and anxiety and kind of work that goes into, once again, when it looks great, it's great. It's a good time. And no matter how much I enjoy DJing itself, it's still a lot of work. And it's not all, it's not all roses. It's not all glamorous.
Right. So speaking of the documentary, you people will probably see some of those things kind of come out. We might see a little bit of the intrigueness, or like the kind of your wheels moving, or maybe we might see some parts in there where it might be a little bit of frustration or whatever the case may be. But I want to ask you this: do you feel like, well, was there something in the documentary, or while you were going through the process of shooting the documentary, that you were nervous that people would see? Like, were you kind of reserved on a certain type of thing? You was like, oh, the camera's near me. Let me not show this side of Krate. I feel like I know the answer, but just want to ask.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So for better or for worse, like, no. Like most people know, like people who really know me, like know, like they know what they're gonna get with me.
Right.
So I'll say, once again, having approaching 30 years of DJing and more, even as a performer, there's always a camera somewhere. There's always somebody taking a picture. Most times, I'm not even really fully cognizant that there are people like taking video or pictures of me. I have a good a periphery kind of sense when I'm DJing specifically about what's going on around me, in part because my focus often is at the equipment. So I'm not always up looking at everything that's going on at every moment. But I still have a good understanding and sense of what's going on and what the energy is and when people may be trying to get video and all that. But with all that being said, my only concern was specifically when I was doing the interview sections. Like I wanted to be crisp, clear, articulate, but not so like macro level that it was like that what I had to share didn't kind of have any value. Because once again, we can all hop on YouTube, go to whatever podcast and kind of get these different levels of insight. And I don't think any is bad per se, but I think there's also kind of this umbrella space that a lot of conversations happen in, to where like the nuance is lost or can't be had because all of the conversation is so broad. So I thought it was important for me to speak to my experiences and my perspectives and some of my opinions, which may not be shared by others, but they're true to my experience and my, what I've seen, what I've been through, and inform why some of the choices that I make in different ways are the choices that I make. And while people may not agree with those or even fully understand them, I think the roughest part or the most difficult part for me was trying to be clear, concise, but absolutely true to my what I think or what I feel, but also not be rude, disrespectful, or because that's never my intent. Very rarely, if ever, is it my intent to be rude and disrespectful. But every blue moon, you got to talk to people in a language they understand. But for the most part, I don't have any desire to be rude and disrespectful to folks.
And I think that's the beauty part of a documentary, is like that I feel like that gives you like the utmost right to be the person that you are. I think that, they see you in this light, they see you in this work, they see you in these spaces, but when it's a documentary about specifically you, I feel like that's the opportunity. Not to be the jerk or whatever, but still, like, for people, they like, look, you cut on this documentary, you're gonna get, you're gonna get the real. And I think Dominic, shout out to Dominic Lawson, him being like a very excellent storyteller and understanding how stories are elevated, I feel like he made that space very comfortable for you to even do that. So
absolutely,
let's talk about.
He asked me some great questions. Yeah, he asked me some great questions, and I'm not gonna get into them, but he asked me some great questions, and some of them made me kind of think for a second to really be like, "Yo, that's a great question," or "That's a question that's never been asked in that way."
Yeah.
And now that you're asking that way, it's making me rethink other things. But yeah, man, he did a great job with the interviews, and I'm looking forward to how it comes out, because I haven't seen, for the record, I'm not giving a green light, red light to it. So he's got the doc. He's got the footage and all that, and what he puts together. I don't have any. I what's the word I'm looking for? I can't stop it. So, once again, I was never concerned about saying something that I didn't want to get out there, but also I want people to know, because I haven't seen the documentary and I won't see it until everybody else sees it, that like what he puts together and how he presents it is very true to what it is. It wasn't, I didn't come in and mold or have any input on take that part out or don't put that in, so what y'all get hopefully is as true as possible of who I am, especially in those moments, for better or for worse, I guess I'll say.
Yeah, man. Again, I might sound biased by saying this, but Dominic, he definitely does a great job with making the space very comfortable. Is there any highlight that you would, outside of you saying that he asked great questions, but is there any type of highlight that you would like to mention about Dom in the process of you working with him? Because during the weekend, there were moments where it was just you and him, but then for the most part, all of us were around. The team was around, as well as like just your normal beings, your normal, uh, the normal people and things that exist when we're not around. But um, it was those moments where you and Dom had those conversations. If you feel like you want to share something like that, that'd be great. But like, what was your experience when it came with working with Dom?
So what I'll say, what I feel most important to me, as I mentioned kind of earlier, how I don't like to be a tech and a creative in the same moment.
Yeah.
Dom is excellent at whatever he does, whether it's podcasting, whether it's storytelling in his writing and writing copy and developing that. And even though he will tell you he's kind of new to this visual documenting storytelling thing, like, yeah, he's new to it, but he's already dope at it. With that being said, I didn't have to think about any of that, any of it. I didn't have to think about, do I need to be doing this to make sure they got the right shot? Do I need to, like, I wasn't having to second guess whether the tech and the logistics and that side of the project, like, did I need to kind of give my input or my experience to make sure that they got it right? I just trusted him and knew that it was going to be what it needed to be. And if he needed me to do something different, he knew to ask me that. I have worked with a lot of different people in a lot of different spaces, no matter the level of, well, let me say this, no matter the titles they have, no matter what equipment they have. Like, some folks like have all the stuff, but still need a lot more experience on how to do the thing. Dom will tell you he may not have a lot of experience, but he knows how to do the thing. So I didn't have to think about kind of prepping myself or doing anything to prepare myself for the shot. I just had to be there and do what I do, how I do it. He was going to get the rest. So whether it was the drone shots, whether it's the action shots, whether it's the conversations that happen after or pre-events, like, I didn't have to do any of that kind of advanced work for the documentary team. Dom was on top of it. He did an amazing job. Can't wait to see what comes of it. And I think because I could just be myself and not have to kind of be an assistant director or an assistant production manager or assistant sound tech, assistant dolly, like, I didn't have to do any of those things other than be Krate, show up to do the jobs that I was hired to do, and the rest was taken care of. And I think that was the most, what's the word? I think that was really the most important aspect of that part of the collaboration, is that I wasn't required to do anyone else's job. And unfortunately, I've been in too many situations where, because of the experience or expertise or different things I have, I'm supplementing other people's job or responsibility or different things for the sake of a project. And all of that energy comes from something else. And too often, it's come from other aspects of what I'm trying to do or what I've been hired to do. Most times that doesn't really show on the outside, but it can and has taken a toll. So when I can just show up as Krate, be Krate, and be responsible for what I'm hired to do, and then all the other parts of the puzzle and the team and the gears are working together doing the parts that they're responsible to do, I think that makes everything else work that much better. So once again, thanks to Dom for that. But I think that was the most kind of propelling part of that collaboration, is that I did not have to do any coaching, anything other than show up, be myself, and do what I do.
Love it, man. Love it, love it. All right, let me reset this room, and then we're going to wind it down. But the Neighbor's Way, Mr. Al Pete from the mighty MPN Network and from the Ummah Creative Group. I meant to shout them out at the beginning. My apologies, but my brothers know what time it is. I'm in the space, so I might be forgetting the stuff here and there. But nevertheless, the Ummah Creative Group, man, is in the building. Krate Digga is in the building. We are talking about the documentary that is going to be releasing on Thursday, August 13th, 2026 at 8 a.m. on the YouTubes, on the Ummah Creative Group YouTube. So please make sure you go and check that out. If you have checked that out and you're watching this interview, feel free to just drop something in there, what you think about it. Let us know if you loved it, all the great stuff. So we greatly appreciate it. All right, last question, Krate. What's next? What's in the chamber? We talk all the time, so I know what's next, but we gotta let the people know what's next. Is there another documentary in the play that you might be part of, or is there some type of musical journey that you'll be tackling? All the things. What's next?
To give you the most kind of true answer, here it is, August. So we're approaching, going back to school. So I'll be working with the local high school for the school year again, as a resident teaching artist in their music department. So shouts out to the Northland High School Vikings. I'll be working with their music department again, a band, jazz band, world percussion, and some more things, along with some other special projects I do with the school. So I'll be working with some high school students for the year. Every second Saturday of the month, I have a residency here at the Cure, the Groove Gathering. I have some other projects coming out. We'll probably start working on, what we're going to do with the MPN for Thanksgiving. And, there's probably more, but in the end, just staying steady. There's always projects that are in my mind kind of being molded, and eventually they hit the paper. And then once they hit the paper and get kind of tightened up, they'll go up on the whiteboard. And once they're on the whiteboard, that means we're looking at bringing them to a stage or a channel or some kind of space for them to be presented to the public. So those things are always happening. But right now I'm really focusing on enjoying the last bit of summer and then hitting the school year and being able to kind of pace myself as need be for the school year, work on these projects. But there's always a mixtape. We just dropped a mixtape 2 weeks ago, 4-part mixtape. There's always the live gigs that'll come up. There's always something. But right now we're just kind of, I don't want to say pacing ourselves per se, but we're focusing on not kind of just doing stuff for the sake of doing it, but making sure we're moving once again with the level of intentionality, as Square says, to make sure we're maximizing our impact.
Indeed. Well, we're definitely looking forward to all the work that Krate has. Please make sure you go check out those mixtapes. Go to kratedigga.com. I'm on the third one, so yeah, I've been coasting on it. It's a very good reason for me to make that trip to Buc-ee's. So to my Duval folks, when you drive to because we had to drive out of Duval to go to Buc-ee's, so that's like a 20-minute, 30-minute drive or whatever. So that's a good time to kind of get on the road real quick, float, get them peanut butter cookies, and float on back to a Krate Digga mix. So definitely appreciate those. So again, Krate, I thank you so much, man. And
my pleasure. Thank
fitting
you.
that we're doing this on a Thursday, so it's definitely a thankful Thursday type of situation. But I'm very thankful for you, brother. Everything that you contribute to the world, to your community, to me, to our crew, all the things, man. I can go on and on about it, but I'm definitely thankful for you, man. I'm looking forward to watching the documentary, man, in real time, and I can say, I was in the background helping. I helped Dom hold a stick.
Yeah, he was holding cameras and opening doors and moving cables and all that. Yeah, we get you some key grip credits in there, something.
All right, well, let the people know where they can find you at. The socials, websites, and all that.
Absolutely, but real quick, let me also say once again, brother, the thanks is reciprocal, man. I greatly appreciate what you do. For the collective, for the community of creatives, and so much more. So all the thanks that you have lauded upon me, brother, it's reciprocal and right back to you.
Definitely, man.
But once again, I am the Krate Digga 24/7, 365. You can catch me on kratedigga.com. That's KrateDigga.com. We got music, we got videos, we got tutorials, we got the first documentaries on the website, and so much more. I know now that I've grown out my beard, I may look it a bit more, but I usually don't look my age. So I tell people, like, if you feel like I'm a beautiful looking person and you want to see me on IG, you can. I would, if you were to say that to me, I would tell you you need to go get a vision test. But nonetheless, if you want to check me out on IG, I'm on IG at Krate Digga. I'm on Threads. If you can't tell, also I have a blooming, boisterous personality, I guess you could say, and some of my what I think are funnier thoughts and different things are available on Threads. So if you check me out on Threads, I'm there as well. But once again, man, if you go to kratedigga.com, that's kind of like the portal to the Krate Digga universe. And then you can get to all the different aspects of who I am as a creative through the website.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. All right, my people, please make sure that you are tuned in to check out Krate Digga at kratedigga.com. Get all the goods, man. One thing I'm going to recommend before we close this out, what is a DJ? So go on YouTube, or I'm sure you can find it on kratedigga.com. But if you're
I think
on
it's still
YouTube,
on the website. Yep.
Yeah, so we'll go to the website and find the What is a DJ doc. Please make sure you go watch that. That was one of my favorite pieces of work that Krate has done. Definitely puts you in the world of DJing. You know what? I feel like you should watch this after you watch the documentary. So after you watch the Krate doc, go find What is a DJ, and I feel like it would just like
it'll tie some things together for sure.
Yeah, it enrich you a little bit more of the DJ world and the world that we're in. So yeah, go check that out. All right, Krate, hold tight. We're finna close this thing out, all right? Listen, man, we just had a dope conversation with a dope brother, human, Krate Digga. He is the feature on the documentary by Dominic Lawson from Dominic Lawson's Cut. It will be the Krate Doc. So please make sure you check it out, man. Open minds, receive it, and enjoy it, and share it with your folks, man. We would love for you to share the documentary, check out the trailers and all that stuff. Follow everywhere we go, all right? So, Mr. LP, the mighty MPN Network, as always, the Neighbor's Way, round 1 of the series. Round 2, we're going to have Dominic Lawson, and we're going to be talking to him about his directorial actions that he's been pushing along. So, but we greatly appreciate you. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel so you get more and more info, all right? Be good to others and be good to yourselves. It's Mr. LP signing off to the top.